Hey everybody, it's Karen from Waterfall Acrylics. Welcome to my Fluid Art channel. Today we're doing something a little bit different. We're going to make a mixed media piece on a 16 by 20 gesso board using some golden crackle paste. I had some molding paste in there as well from Golden. I didn't like the molding paste, so I sanded it smooth and applied Golden's fiber paste instead because I wanted it to have some texture, and I didn't like the smoothness of the molding paste. So this part's pretty self-explanatory. This is just me laying down the crackle paste. I do prefer the Golden brand. I've tried them all, and I keep coming back to the Golden because it's opaque and really does a great job of hiding anything that's underneath painting. I know I've used this on bloom paintings and used the crackle paste to hide portions of a bloom I didn't like, and it did a great job of masking it. So I'm just using that to come up with my general composition. I'll talk about that more in a minute. And here you can see the marks you can make within the crackle paste that I did with my palette knives. Now they looked really cool there, and on this first day I liked it, but then when it dried I was like, I don't like it. So I ended up applying more crackle paste. Oh, there I'm distressing it a bit. That part does get to live. Where you just lay your palette knife down and lift straight up, and it makes really cool, like little mountain peaks. That part got to live. And then when this had dried, I realized it's a guessing game, or it just comes with experience, knowing how much to apply. And I had made it too thin. When it's thin, your cracks will be uniform but small. And if they're too thick, it won't crack at all. So there's like a 1/4 inch variance to get it just right. And since I didn't like that part I had made with my palette knife, I am just sanding it off. That it sands off really, really easy. Just any old piece of sandpaper will do. Recommend doing it outside and not in your studio. It was quite messy. Leaving the things I liked and sanding off things that I didn't. And then there was one area with crackle paste. I think I'm reapplying it here, or am I starting with my color? There was one area with the crackle paste where I had a fairly large section where it cracked beautifully, and I was able to take it and sand out any little lines or anything, so it looks really great. You'll see it at the end of the video. So now I'm just starting to apply layers of color. Some of the colors were omitted from the video because this 22-minute video was something like 2.5 hours long. So you won't get to see all of the colors. But basically, right now I'm kind of playing because that's a nice area of cracks. And I wanted to see what it looked like, where to keep it, where to disguise the crackle paste by having an opaque color on top of them. So this is just, what color is this? This is anthracynone blue, I'm pretty sure. I only used Golden and Amsterdam brands. For the Golden, it was either high flow or fluid acrylics mixed with Golden's high flow medium. And then I even used the high flow medium to mix up a couple of Amsterdam tube paint colors to get them to be thin and fluid as well. I really like painting wet on wet. I like being able to do things like this, like put the color down, deciding if I like it, and then just using a piece of a cloth or a paper towel. I have my squirt bottle of water, and you can distress it, and then when you put your next layer of color down, that's where the color ends up. So Just getting that first layer down, having fun. Basically, I'm goofing off here. I'm like, oh, look, there's a line, there's cracks, let me play. So I didn't get real serious about this at first. I was just having a good time, seeing what colors I liked, playing around with the areas with cracks, deciding how dark or how light I wanted them to be. Um, hella fun to just sit and play for a couple hours. You can tell I pulled up a chair and just spent the afternoon in my studio goofing off with this painting. It was really fun. I almost set this to music and decided against it because I thought people would like to hear my thought process. I am by no means an expert on crackle paste or fiber paste, but I did learn a lot doing this painting that I'll talk about as we go along. So I'm not going to add music or anything. If it gets quiet, it's because I have nothing to say. uh, yeah, and then I want this to be too boring too, so this doesn't last long before we move on to another color. This is just literally me exploring the texture. I switched to a different blue here. Can you tell it's a little bit lighter and brighter? Um, so that's already the second layer of color. For some reason, I guess I didn't like it, so I took it off. Which is the nice thing is how forgiving this is. So if you're new to this or never used it or never made a mixed media piece like this, when you paint wet on wet like this, you have a lot of freedom in changing your mind or correcting mistakes. And I'm putting mistakes in quotes because if you're just learning, it's really not a mistake and when you're exploring. So, all right, moving on to other colors. Like I said, lots and lots of layers of different shades. Sometimes I would remove it in certain spots. I would leave it there. This is Amsterdam's, you can see the tubes there. It's a combination of King's Blue and turquoise green, I believe. And I had 3 cups of those. One was the blue, one was the green, and one was a combo. And then in the lower left-hand corner, you'll see there's another green color. I know it was Amsterdam. I don't remember the name, the shade of that particular light green. That comes into play later. I really wanted this to be kind of dark and kind of moody and have a nice composition so that when you walked into the room where it is, the composition would make you want to go over and look at it. But then once you got close, you realize, oh my gosh, there's so many layers of colors in this piece of art. So this is now Payne's Gray. I put this down and I know it looks like I'm covering up all those colors. Trust me, you'll see at the end, you do see those other colors underneath. I think every color I chose is transparent. I do this part right there, I think twice from beginning to end. I'm only showing you these layers just in the interest of time. The other thing I discovered that was a bit of an epiphany for me is, and I think this is something everybody probably does the first couple times they use crackle paste like this, is I followed the lines of the paste to create my composition. And that came back. It didn't bite me on the butt, but it did make me change it. I realized that doesn't always make the best composition. So while I'm adding yet another layer of color, you'll see like right below my arm there, it looks like a little skinny banana, or maybe it looks like a shoe. Let me see when I get close to it. My arm is covering up right there. That little curvy swath that to me looks like a skinny banana, that's me following the line of the crackle paste. And later on in the video, I realized like, no, that's going to mess up your overall composition. You can't have that. You need to make your composition with your paintbrushing and not by what the crackle paste or modeling paste or fiber paste or sand or whatever it is you're going to use. Use your paint to dictate your composition. You use the products to just almost like as a highlight. Maybe not so much for this piece because there's so much of it, but definitely use color to dictate your overall composition. So now I'm just adding some highlights here. The green, I go back and forth. I use a couple different shades of greens in here. So I would add or remove it, decide if I liked it or not. Like I said, very, very forgiving. And I think it's not in the video. At this point, I had removed most of the modeling paste in the negative space area and put down the fiber paste. So now I have realized that, you know what? This composition isn't very, very good. And I need to make my own using color. It's just what I was talking about a second ago. And not listen to where the cracks are. So I'm fixing my composition, and then I will do some work in that negative space area because it was entirely too bright and too white, and I kind of hated it. But first, we're changing the shape of it, and you'll see in a minute, hopefully. I'm trying to remember. Oh, I think for a second I work on the negative space portion. And that area that I'm paintbrushing right there had some beautiful cracking. It just looked amazing, and I wanted to highlight it. And so I knew I wanted it to be lighter so that people could see it, even from a distance, that there was crackle paste there. And I needed it to blend into the negative space area. So there was a lot of work that went on right here. I did a fairly good job of mixing the fiber paste with the crackle paste so that when the cracks ended, it looks very organic and they just sort of melt into the fiber paste and don't come to an abrupt stop. So I was really happy about that. So a lot of this painting right here is me realizing that I can't simply follow the lines of the cracks. I need to come up with my own composition. And so, like I said, a lot of time was spent working on this area. And my little swoop of the skinny banana color, you'll see me get rid of that as well when I have that epiphany. I still, at this point, don't like how white that negative space area is. And I think I use a couple different colors, some white. It was mostly white, but I added a smidge, like 3 drops of viridian green, and I ended up painting the negative space portion just so there wasn't such a stark contrast between that area and the rest of the painting. And I think this is the point where, what am I doing here? Oh, I'm still working on the crackle paste area. And there was a nice spot where it made an automatic break that I ended up using white as a highlight color. And yep, this is where I'm fixing that banana swipe, as I like to call it. I'm like, yeah, you got to go because you're ruining the composition, and I don't like it. So let me darken you up and start to change my composition even more. And then here I go with my little bit of viridian green. And at some point, I think I put down a bunch of white. I just kind of pour it on there. At least I remember doing that. I don't know. Maybe I cut it out of the video where I paint that. Because it's bugging me now. And it's already over. Oh, yeah. See, I'm looking at parchment, white. I ended up going with just white, I believe, and a little bit of the viridian to finish off that piece. I also learned that as fun as it is to work on shadows and highlights with all the divots and dents and crevices of the crackle paste, you do that last. Like, it's fun in the beginning because look, it's so pretty, but really, you really have to actually paint your painting and then do that part. At least that's how I operate. And that way I can see the overall composition and then go back. See, look, banana be gone. Like, yeah, you got to get out of there. Yeah, so me doing a lot of touch up right there to correct that part. And I got to do something with that cavity. I can't believe I left it like that. I'm at home recording this, so I don't remember. It's sitting in my studio. Oh, here we go. So here's the green and the white. I knew I did it. Yep, I poured that on and then brushed that in. And then I have like this big fluffer brush that I used. It's a blending brush to blend everything in. But this really helps that negative space area a great deal and just softens it all up. So, yep, a touch of viridian green and just blending, making it look nice over and over again until I get it the way I want it. That part was fun too. Bit of water to help spread it. And see, it still looks white on camera, but now it's a really, really soft blue-green color. And it looked really pretty in person. Still working on fixing my composition. I really enjoy using a paper towel on the crackle, parts of the crackle to make it distressed. That was hella fun too. So I think I'm starting to add highlights and shadows and things. That was my other favorite part. Oh, still blending. Maybe I'm not there yet. I feel like I've been talking forever. And trying to remember too. I played it back once, but if you guys are still watching, thank you so much. Yeah, darkening up the edges a little bit of the negative space area, blending with the paper towel, distressing some portions. And at some point here, at this point, I know I'm getting close to done, and I turn my attention to, yeah, here we go. So now we're getting near the end because now I'm going to put like a wash, a color, and correct my composition some more and have that line come down straight. It was a game changer. Is using my paint to make the composition rather than a crackle paste. I believe that's just teal. And then I spent probably an hour, and I cut most of it out, was doing the highlight and shadows and all the little crevices, and deciding, what I wanted to showcase and what I didn't. And that was hella fun. So yeah, this is pretty much the finishing touches. Just sat around for an hour playing. But I was much, much happier with the overall composition of this now. So it's just fine tuning at this point. I'm afraid to keep talking because I think the finished results are coming up any second now. So yeah, adding little touches of green. And yeah, I'm going to stop talking because I think that's it. Let's see the dry results. All right, guys, I think I'm done with this. These types of paintings, you could just keep going and going and going. And half the battle is knowing when to walk away. So I'm going to stop here. Pretty happy with this. What am I showing you first? I think one of my favorite things that I did a good job in is the blending of the fiber paste. Let me zoom in, which is this rough stuff right here. Blending that in with the Crackle paste so that the Crackle just kind of fades away. Really happy with how that turned out. I'm going to show you this part up here because you can see all the different shades of blue. And then, you know, it's just so much fun filling in little cracks, making little lakes with dark areas. I like my little pops of green. This whole section here, I distressed that with my palette knife. That's the Crackle paste. And I came very close to snow capping that, like adding white on the top. And then decided that this isn't a mountain painting, so save that for something else. And yeah, just like all the blending of the colors. The crack up through here I really like as well. And like I said, all the shades of blue. I just think it's kind of cool. It was fun to do something different and take a break from fluid art. Let me zoom back out. And I really like it in this black and white floater frame too. I think it looks really great. And I ended up painting like the sides. You can't see it. There, Payne's gray to make it match. And this will just get a satin varnish. I don't want to resin it. I don't want it all shiny. I like how earthy it is. And I think we just leave it be. Oh, I like this part up here too. Yeah, pretty dang happy. Thanks for watching if you made it this far and putting up with me doing something different. It was hella fun. Highly recommend. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. And I'll see you guys in a week. Peace out.